What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Ball Sports Network. Thank you guys for the continued support. Continue to hit the like, share, subscribe, and the notification bells. I upload videos every single day. Now, there is news coming out of the city of Louisville. It looks like the police department there, the LMPD in Louisville, has announced a statewide state of emergency as it prepares for a grand jury decision on the Breonna Taylor case. Just a really quick, basically they've canceled all vacations. They canceled all days off. The city of Louisville has closed federal buildings. They boarded up the federal buildings, all in the wake of the announcement, which looks like it will come out, soon, this week. Basically, to me, it looks like it's inevitable. They're not going to charge, or at least not charge as harsh as the people in the city, in my hometown, want in the case of Breonna Taylor. And obviously, for those who don't know, Breonna Taylor was the 26-year-old woman who was shot in the city of Louisville 6 months ago, back in March. She was shot by some plainclothes police who were executing a no-knock warrant. And so I'm making this video because my thoughts on this are what they are, but it's what the sports community is going to do about this decision when they don't get the decision that they want, because it doesn't look like it's going to happen. The simple fact that they're canceling all police officers, it's going to be all hands on deck, 24 hours a day, no vacations, no days off, and they're boarding up all these federal buildings. They're closing these federal buildings for the foreseeable future. It looks like they're gonna execute a decision. The Attorney General Daniel Cameron has gotten a decision back from the grand jury, and it looks like it's going to be, from what I've read, just the people that seem to be connected to the police and all this stuff down there, they were investigating 6 officers and not just the 3 that we know of. It looks like Haskins, who was the guy, or whatever his name was, Hankinson or whatever, he shot inside Breonna Taylor's apartment 10 times. It looks like he's going to be charged a little more severe than the other 2 or the other 4 guys or whatever. But even his charge doesn't look like it's going to be a murder charge. It doesn't look like it looks like the other 4 guys are going to get away, or not. I'm not even going to say get away, but just not get what people are expecting. So now the question is, what are guys like LeBron James, players in the NFL, players in the WNBA, what are they going to do, right? Like, what is going, because this looks like it's going to happen. The whole say her name is all based around Breonna Taylor. The whole, like I talked about, the Great Awakening, the Black Awakening that's taking place in this country, we're behind the killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. In George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery's case, people were charged in those. People, went to jail. They got charged on murder. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen in Breonna Taylor. So what do these athletes do? Like, what's next? Shirts obviously weren't good enough, right? Shirts aren't good enough. Slogans can't, all of that stuff. It didn't work in your favor. So what do you do now? Like, what is the next step to continue the fight for social justice? To make sure there's not another Breonna Taylor? To try to prevent that? And then the thing that was on George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery's, what was on their side was video. There was no video in Breonna Taylor's case. So that, in that case, it's Kenneth Walker's word and maybe some eyewitnesses versus the police. And in that battle, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose. The police are going to win that. So, regardless of your thoughts on Breonna Taylor and her history and her past or whatever, some of the stuff that people try to dig up about her and say about her, whatever, I am just curious to see what is the next step by the athletes, right? What is the next step by the millionaire athletes that have put, in some cases, their careers on the line, right? Obviously not in the case of like LeBron James, but guys like Kenny Steele, who went to Louisville, who got arrested, who continues to, be an activist in those kind of situations. What is the next step for them? What is the next step for groups like United Until Freedom, where a lot of athletes and entertainers and activists are inside, working with that group? That's what I'm curious to see, because it's not looking good. It is not looking good for those who continue to wear the shirts that say, "Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor." Doesn't look like they're going to do that, at least not to the extent that you hope. What are your thoughts on the Breonna Taylor case? And not necessarily on the case, but what are your thoughts on the athletes? What should they do next? I'm honestly lost for words. I really don't know what they should do next. I don't know what can be done besides continuing to fight and getting your owners, the rich, the even rich people, the people that are richer than you, that make billions of dollars, on your side and fight for the right things. Get in the ears of the governors and the mayors and the head of police in these different cities, not just Louisville, but across the country. Let me know your thoughts. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. at the Ball Sports Network. We'll see you next time.